I woke up as a dying mute Omega. Then the cold Alpha King started hearing my thoughts. Hello everyone. Before we step into today's story, I have one small favor to ask. Please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss a new story from our channel. It only takes a moment, it is completely free, and it is one of the best ways to support us in bringing you more dramatic, emotional, and unforgettable stories like this one. Your support truly means the world to us. And before we begin, tell us in the comments where in the world you are watching from, and what time it is where you are right now. We love discovering how far these stories travel, and seeing everyone joining us from different corners of the world. Now, get comfortable, and let's begin today's story. I was supposed to be dying, so why was the most powerful alpha in the kingdom staring at me like I had just spoken inside his head? Noah Widmore opened his eyes to a ceiling he had never seen before, pale stone crossed by dark wooden beams, while cold morning light slipped through a narrow window nearly 12 feet away. For several seconds, he simply stared upward, trying to understand why breathing felt like work. His body was weak, frighteningly weak, as though someone had drained every ounce of strength from his muscles and left only enough to keep his heart moving. Then memories arrived, but they were not his memories. Blackwood Palace, the Northern Kingdom, Omega servants, a royal court ruled by Alpha King Adrian Blackwood, and one name repeated through the confusion, Noah Widmore. He pushed himself upright and immediately regretted it. The room tilted. His hands trembled against the blanket. He tried to call for help, but nothing came from his throat. Noah froze. He tried again. Hello? At least, that was what he meant to say. His lips moved, but the room remained completely silent. Panic tightened around his chest. More borrowed memories surfaced. This body had been mute for years. Worse, the palace physicians believed Noah was dying from an illness nobody could identify. Weeks, perhaps months. That was all they had given him. Noah stared at his reflection in a small mirror beside the bed. Pale skin, dark hair, tired gray eyes, and a face far too young to look so exhausted stared back. Great, he thought bitterly. New world, no voice, and apparently I'm dying. Excellent start. A knock interrupted him. An elderly beta servant entered, nearly dropping the folded clothes in his hands when he saw Noah sitting upright. Within an hour, Noah was dressed and escorted through corridors so enormous they made his tiny servant room feel like another universe. He learned quickly that silence made people careless. They spoke around him as though he were furniture. Some pitied the dying Omega. Others barely noticed him. Noah noticed everything. The guards changing positions. The servants avoiding one particular corridor. The nervous whispers about an emergency royal council meeting. Then the massive doors ahead opened, and every conversation stopped. King Adrian Blackwood entered. Noah understood immediately why people feared him. Adrian was tall, broad-shouldered, and composed with the effortless authority of a man who never needed to raise his voice. His dark hair framed sharp features, and his cold blue eyes swept across the hall with unsettling precision. Every alpha nearby lowered his gaze. Noah should have done the same. Instead, one ridiculous thought slipped through his mind. That's the terrifying Alpha King? He looks more exhausted than terrifying. Adrian stopped. Completely. The entire hallway seemed to hold its breath. Slowly, the king turned his head toward Noah. His eyes narrowed. Who said that? Nobody moved. Noah's heartbeat stumbled. He hadn't said anything. He couldn't say anything. Adrian took one measured step toward him. Noah swallowed in thought. Wait! Can he hear me? The king's expression changed for the first time. Not anger. Not confusion. Recognition. Adrian crossed the remaining distance until he stood directly before the dying mute Omega everyone else had learned to ignore. Then, in a voice quiet enough to make the silence feel enormous, the cold Alpha King answered the thought Noah had never spoken aloud. Yes! Adrian's single word struck Noah harder than any shout could have. For a moment, he forgot the weakness in his legs, the unfamiliar palace, even the impossible fact that he had awakened inside another life. He could only stare into the Alpha King's cold blue eyes and think, "That is impossible." Adrian's expression tightened. "I agree." Noah nearly stopped breathing. Around them, servants and guards exchanged confused glances. They had heard the king speaking, but Noah had made no sound. Adrian noticed their attention immediately. His face returned to its unreadable calm. "Everyone leave." The command was quiet, yet the hallway emptied within seconds. Soon only Noah and Adrian remained beneath the towering windows. Noah instinctively stepped backward. "If you can hear this, do not come closer." Adrian stopped at once. That surprised Noah more than anything else. A king accustomed to obedience had obeyed the request of a servant nobody considered important. "You truly cannot speak?" Adrian asked. Noah touched his throat and shook his head. "But you are speaking now." "I am thinking." Adrian studied him. "Then think something deliberately." Noah frowned. "Your palace is unnecessarily large." Adrian's eyebrow moved slightly. "Something useful." "Your personality is unnecessarily cold." For the briefest instant, something almost resembling amusement appeared in Adrian's eyes. Noah stared. "Did the terrifying king almost smile?" "No." "You definitely did." "Noah." Hearing his name from Adrian made his thoughts suddenly still. "How do you know my name?" Adrian glanced toward the servant insignia stitched into Noah's coat. "I read." Heat rushed into Noah's face. "Wonderful. I woke up dying and mute, and now I am embarrassing myself telepathically in front of royalty." Adrian's amusement vanished at one word. "Dying?" Noah hesitated. The borrowed memories felt fragmented, but that truth was clear. Palace physicians. Unexplained weakness. A steadily worsening condition. He nodded. Adrian's gaze sharpened. "Who told you?" Noah thought carefully. "The physicians told the previous me." Silence followed. Adrian looked at him differently. "The previous you?" Noah realized his mistake too late. Before Adrian could question him, footsteps approached from the far corridor. Noah recognized one of the royal council ministers from the body's scattered memories, Lord Everett Vale. The instant Vale appeared, a strange pressure tightened around Noah's throat. His fingers went cold. A memory flashed through his mind. A silver cup, bitter medicine, Vale's signet ring beside it. Noah staggered. Adrian caught his arm before he fell, steadying him without pulling him closer. "What happened?" Noah looked toward Vale, who had stopped 20 feet away. His polite smile seemed ordinary, but Noah's instincts screamed otherwise. "Your Majesty," Vale called, "the council is waiting." Noah stared at the man's ring. Another fragment surfaced. Medicine every evening. The same ring. The same bitter smell. Noah's pulse quickened. "Adrian, I think someone has been making this body sick." The king became perfectly still. Vale continued approaching. Noah's mind raced as details connected themselves with frightening clarity. "Do not react. He does not know you can hear me." Adrian released Noah's arm and turned toward the minister with effortless composure. "Lord Vale, walk with me." Vale bowed. "Of course, Your Majesty." Adrian began toward the council chamber, then paused beside Noah. "The Omega comes too." Vale's smile faltered. Only for a second, but Noah saw it. Adrian saw it too. And as Noah followed the king toward the council chamber, one terrifying thought settled into his mind. Maybe I was not supposed to wake up at all. The royal council chamber was built to make visitors feel small, but Noah quickly realized that powerful men became surprisingly careless when they believed the quietest person in the room did not matter. 12 counselors sat around a long oak table, while Adrian occupied the high-backed chair at its head. Noah stood several feet behind him, officially nothing more than a servant awaiting instructions. Lord Everett Vale took his seat without looking at Noah again. That deliberate lack of attention made Noah more suspicious, not less. Your Majesty, Vale began, the eastern provinces require immediate approval for the winter grain transfer. Documents moved across the table. Noah watched Adrian read while ministers discussed warehouses, roads, and supply costs. He understood only fragments until one number caught his attention. 80,000 sacks of grain had supposedly been moved from Greyhaven to the eastern border in 9 days. Noah frowned. A memory belonging to this body surfaced unexpectedly. Greyhaven was nearly 300 miles away, and recent storms had closed the fastest mountain route. That cannot be right, Noah thought. Adrian's eyes shifted almost imperceptibly toward him. Noah studied the papers from where he stood. Another number appeared. 200 wagons. He calculated quickly. 200 wagons cannot carry 80,000 sacks in one trip. Even if each wagon carried far more than it safely should, the numbers still fail. Adrian placed the document down. How many wagons were used? Vale blinked. 200, Your Majesty. And the mountain road? Open enough for transport. Noah remembered servants discussing a bridge damaged by flooding 3 days earlier. He is lying. Adrian did not react. Instead, he asked increasingly precise questions until Vale's confident answers began contradicting one another. The other counselors noticed. Within minutes, Adrian postponed the authorization and ordered an independent audit. Vale bowed stiffly, but Noah caught the flash of alarm in his eyes. When the meeting ended, Adrian dismissed everyone except Noah. The doors closed. You saved me from signing something I should not have signed, Adrian said. Noah shook his head. I noticed arithmetic. My council did not. Maybe your council needs fewer titles and more calculators. Adrian actually smiled this time, faint but unmistakable. Noah stared before thinking. There it is again! Adrian immediately returned to seriousness. There is something you need to understand. I will not search for thoughts you do not intend to share. Noah studied him carefully. A man who could accidentally enter the only private place a mute person possessed was promising restraint without being asked. Why? Adrian looked toward the closed doors. Because hearing you does not make your mind mine. Something warm and unfamiliar moved through Noah's chest. Before he could answer, the weakness returned suddenly. His knees nearly gave way, and Adrian steadied him by the elbow. Beneath Noah's collar, a thin silver pattern briefly shimmered across his skin. Adrian saw it. His face changed. Noah, what is that? Noah touched his neck. What is what? Adrian stared at the fading silver lines, as if he had seen a ghost from an old legend. Something that should not exist anymore. Adrian did not explain what he had seen. Instead, he led Noah through a private passage behind the council chamber and into a quiet library hidden inside the oldest section of Blackwood Palace. The room smelled of cedar, dust, and old paper, and its shelves rose nearly 20 feet toward a painted ceiling. Noah lowered himself into a chair while Adrian locked the door. You are making this feel extremely ominous, Noah thought. It is ominous, Adrian replied. Comforting. Adrian crossed to a cabinet and removed a leather-bound volume whose faded cover carried a silver emblem shaped like a closed eye. Noah watched him turn the fragile pages until he found an illustration of a pale figure surrounded by thin silver markings. The resemblance to what had appeared on Noah's neck was unmistakable. The Voiceless, Adrian said. Noah stared at the page. That sounds encouraging. They were an Omega bloodline recorded in the earliest history of this kingdom. Adrian's voice remained controlled, but Noah could hear the uncertainty beneath it. They disappeared more than 2 centuries ago. Noah pointed toward himself. Apparently one forgot to disappear. Adrian almost smiled, then turned another page. Most of the writing had been deliberately removed. Entire sections were covered in black ink. Noah leaned closer. Someone wanted this forgotten. Yes. Why? Adrian had no answer. Noah examined the surviving text. One phrase appeared repeatedly beside the silver markings: sovereign resonance. Before he could study it further, dizziness swept over him. His breathing shortened. Adrian immediately moved closer, but stopped several feet away, remembering Noah's earlier request. May I help you? The question startled Noah. Adrian Blackwood could command an entire kingdom, yet he was asking permission to cross a few feet of carpet. Noah nodded. Adrian supported him carefully and guided him back into the chair. The silver lines returned, brighter now, spreading briefly above Noah's collar. At the same instant, Adrian flinched. What happened? Noah thought. Adrian stared at him. Your voice became louder. I have no voice. Not that one. Adrian stepped back, visibly unsettled. Noah looked again at the ancient book. A possibility formed. What if you are not reading my mind? Adrian's eyes narrowed. Explain. You never hear random memories. You do not hear everything I think. You hear thoughts when I direct them towards you. Noah tested the idea by silently reciting meaningless numbers while looking away. Adrian showed no reaction. Then Noah focused directly on him. Adrian! The king immediately answered. I heard that. Noah's pulse quickened. Then you are not entering my mind. I am sending something into yours. Silence filled the library. That distinction changed everything. Noah was not powerless. He possessed an ability nobody understood. Adrian looked toward the erased pages. If this is sovereign resonance, someone removed its history for a reason. Noah remembered Vale's silver ring beside the bitter medicine. And someone may have spent years making sure I died before anyone discovered it. Adrian closed the book. His expression became colder than Noah had ever seen it. Then from this moment forward, nobody gives you medicine, food, or drink unless it comes through people I trust. Noah studied him. You believe me? Adrian met his eyes. You found a lie my entire council missed. I would be foolish not to listen. Then Noah noticed something tucked beneath the book's damaged binding. A hidden strip of paper, yellow with age. He carefully pulled it free. Only one sentence remained readable. Noah looked at Adrian, and for the first time, the Alpha King seemed genuinely shaken. The message said that when a voiceless heir awakened, only one person in the kingdom would hear him, and that person would either become his greatest protector or the reason his bloodline vanished forever. The sentence, hidden inside the binding, followed Noah long after they left the library. Protector or destroyer. The word sounded less like history, and more like a warning written specifically for them. Adrian ordered a trusted physician named Dr. Samuel Hart to examine Noah privately, but he refused to explain the ancient record until they knew more. Samuel spent nearly an hour checking Noah's pulse, breathing, eyes, and the strange silver markings that appeared whenever his strength faded. Finally, the physician stepped away from the examination table with a troubled expression. Whatever is happening to him does not behave like an ordinary illness. Noah looked toward Adrian. That is becoming a theme in my life. Adrian ignored the joke. What does it behave like? Samuel hesitated. Exhaustion caused by something inside him consuming enormous amounts of energy. His body is not failing randomly. It is trying to sustain a process I cannot identify. Noah touched his throat. The silver line shimmered faintly beneath his fingertips. Sovereign resonance, he thought toward Adrian. Adrian repeated the phrase aloud for Samuel. The physician went pale. He had heard the term only once, in a medical archive restricted by royal decree. Less than an hour later, the three of them stood inside an underground archive beneath the palace, where sealed records from the earliest Blackwood rulers were kept. Samuel found a thin medical journal nearly 300 years old. Unlike the book upstairs, these pages had escaped censorship. The journal described rare Omegas born without ordinary voices, whose minds could project what ancient physicians called true thought. They could not control another person's mind. They could do something more unsettling to rulers, who depended on dominance. Their resonance could pass through Alpha Command without submitting to it. Noah read the line twice. So being mute was never the weakness. Adrian understood immediately. It was the visible sign of the bloodline. Another entry explained the silver markings. They appeared when sovereign resonance awakened faster than the body could support it. Without proper stabilization, the bearer weakened. Progressively, Noah's stomach tightened. Then I really am dying. Samuel shook his head. Not necessarily. The journal says stabilization was possible, but the method is missing. Several pages had been carefully removed. Adrian's jaw tightened. Noah noticed something else. The missing pages had not been torn centuries ago. The exposed binding was cleaner than the surrounding paper. These were removed recently. Adrian examined it and nodded. Noah thought of Vale. Bitter medicine. Hidden records. A dying body nobody questioned. Suddenly the pieces formed a disturbing picture. Someone knew what I was before I did. Adrian looked at him. And they were afraid you would awaken. Noah considered the implication. A voiceless servant had been easy to dismiss. A dying Omega even easier. But an Omega whose thoughts could cross Alpha Command was something entirely different. Noah straightened despite his exhaustion. Then whoever did this made one mistake. Adrian waited. Noah met his gaze. They thought silence meant powerlessness. For the first time, Adrian's expression held something warmer than curiosity. Respect. They were wrong. A soft sound interrupted them. Samuel had discovered another entry near the journal's end. His face changed as he read it. Your Majesty, there is more. Adrian approached. Samuel pointed to a faded sentence describing the rarest stage of sovereign resonance. Noah focused on the words, and a chill moved through him. A fully awakened voiceless heir did not merely speak to one chosen alpha. Under extraordinary circumstances, his true voice could reach every bonded wolf within an entire kingdom. The possibility that Noah's mind could someday reach an entire kingdom should have made Adrian more determined to control the strange connection between them. Instead, the Alpha King did something Noah had not expected. He gave Noah a choice. The following evening, Dr. Samuel Hart returned with a second record recovered from a locked cabinet in the underground archive. It described an ancient resonance ritual between a voiceless heir and the Alpha chosen to hear him. If completed, the connection could become permanent, allowing the Alpha to hear every thought carried through the Omega's awakened power. More importantly, the ritual might stabilize Noah long enough for Samuel to discover why his body was deteriorating. Then we do it, Noah thought immediately. Adrian remained silent. Did you hear me? Yes. Then why are you looking like someone just proposed setting your palace on fire? Samuel quietly excused himself, leaving them alone in Adrian's private study. The king walked toward the window overlooking the snow-covered capital. Because you have not considered the cost. Noah followed slowly. The cost is preferable to dying. Not that cost. Adrian turned. Your mind may be the only place in your entire life that has belonged completely to you. This ritual could remove that privacy forever. Noah stared at him. You could save me. Perhaps. And you are refusing? I am refusing to make that decision for you while you are frightened of dying. The answer unsettled Noah because it contradicted everything this world had taught him about powerful alphas. Adrian possessed armies, wealth, royal authority, and a presence strong enough to silence rooms merely by entering them. Yet when offered access to Noah's most defenseless territory, he stepped away from it. Noah focused deliberately. What if I choose it? Adrian's expression softened. Then I will ask whether you are choosing freely. And I will keep asking until I am certain. Something inside Noah shifted. Since awakening, he had been treated as sick, strange, useful, or dangerous. Adrian was the first person who treated him as someone whose choices mattered. Noah moved beside the window. Below them, thousands of lights glowed across Blackwood City. People think power means making everyone obey you. Adrian looked outward. Many kings have believed that. What do you believe? Adrian was quiet for several seconds. That a man who must control everyone around him is probably terrified of what they might choose without him. Noah looked at him, surprised by the answer. That was unexpectedly wise. I occasionally disappoint people. Noah smiled. Then a memory flashed through him without warning. A dim room. Lord Vale speaking to someone Noah could not see. A silver cup on a table. The original Noah's trembling hand refusing it. Then a sentence surfaced with startling clarity. Increase the dose. The awakening must not happen before the winter coronation. Noah gripped the windowsill. Adrian immediately noticed. What did you remember? Noah sent the memory deliberately. Adrian heard every word. His face became still. The winter coronation is 3 days from now. Noah's pulse quickened. Then whatever Vale is planning has a deadline. Adrian reached for the bell to summon his guards, but Noah stopped him with one thought. Not yet. If Vale believes I am still weak and ignorant, we have an advantage. Adrian studied him carefully. You want to investigate him yourself? Noah nodded. You said power means allowing people to choose. Adrian sighed. I am beginning to regret being wise. Noah almost laughed, but then the silver markings beneath his collar suddenly brightened. This time Adrian heard something Noah had not intentionally sent. It was not a thought. It was a second voice buried somewhere inside Noah's mind, faint and unfamiliar, whispering only 4 words. Do not trust the crown. The warning remained between them, like an invisible wall. Do not trust the crown. Noah stared at Adrian, but the Alpha King looked as disturbed as he felt. That was not me. Noah thought deliberately. I know. Adrian lowered his hand from the bell. But it came through your resonance. Noah closed his eyes and searched the unfamiliar memories inside him. This time he did not chase images. He followed emotion, fear, loneliness, a desperate need to leave something behind. Then he understood. The original Noah. Adrian stepped closer, but maintained a respectful distance. You believe part of his memory remains? Noah nodded. The distinction between his own consciousness and the body's memories had always felt clear. Now another possibility emerged. The former Noah had known he was dying. Perhaps he had hidden information where only an awakened successor could find it. Noah concentrated on the warning again. A new memory surfaced. A servant corridor beneath the western tower, an unused music room, and a loose floorboard beneath an old piano. I know where he hid something. 20 minutes later, Noah and Adrian entered the abandoned room through a private passage. Dust covered the piano. Beneath one floorboard they found a narrow wooden box containing letters, medical records, and a small journal written by Noah's own hand years earlier. Adrian did not touch it. It belongs to you. Noah looked at him. Technically, it belonged to the man whose body I woke up in. Then you decide whether I read it. Noah opened the journal himself. The entries revealed a patient investigation carried out by someone everyone had mistaken for helpless. The original Noah had tracked his medicine, symptoms, council schedules, and unusual changes in palace security. His conclusion was devastatingly simple. The medicine was suppressing sovereign resonance while slowly weakening his body. Lord Vale had arranged it, but Vale was only part of something larger. Noah turned to the final pages. The winter coronation appeared repeatedly. During the ceremony, every bonded wolf in Blackwood would gather within range of an ancient royal artifact called the Crown Stone. According to the journal, the stone could amplify Alpha command across the capital. Vale wants to use it, Noah thought. Adrian shook his head. He cannot. The Crown Stone responds only to royal blood. Noah looked again at the warning. Do not trust the crown. Then his attention settled on an older entry describing years of secret modifications beneath the ceremonial hall. Maybe he does not need royal blood if he can redirect yours. Adrian's expression hardened. The plan became clear. During the coronation renewal, Adrian would activate the Crown Stone as generations of Blackwood kings had done. Vale intended to manipulate that power and turn a symbolic royal tradition into a command nobody could refuse. The original Noah had discovered the scheme because his bloodline could sense what ordinary wolves could not. That was why he had been silenced. Noah closed the journal. We cannot arrest Vale yet. Adrian frowned. We have evidence. Evidence against Vale, yes. Not against everyone helping him. If we move now, the others disappear. Adrian studied Noah for a long moment. What are you proposing? Noah looked toward the palace lights beyond the dusty windows. Let them believe the coronation will happen exactly as planned. That puts you near the Crown Stone, which may be exactly where I need to be. Adrian's alpha instincts clearly hated the idea, but he did not command Noah to stay away. Instead he asked, Is that your choice? Noah nodded. Adrian extended his hand, not as a king demanding obedience, but as a partner offering trust. Noah placed his hand in Adrian's. The silver markings immediately glowed beneath his skin. Somewhere deep inside his mind, the original Noah's fading memory surfaced one final time. This time the message was different. The Crown Stone does not amplify the strongest voice. It amplifies the voice the kingdom chooses to hear. 3 days later, the ceremonial hall of Blackwood Palace held more people than Noah had ever seen in one place. Alpha leaders, Omega representatives, council families, palace workers, and citizens chosen from every province filled the enormous chamber beneath banners of silver and midnight blue. At the center stood the Crown Stone, a smooth black pillar older than the kingdom itself. Noah remained near Adrian, dressed not as a servant but as an official royal witness. The change drew whispers. Lord Vale watched him with a smile that never reached his eyes. The ceremony began exactly as tradition demanded. Adrian placed one hand against the Crown Stone and recited the ancient oath. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then silver light traveled through the stone. Noah immediately felt pressure gathering in the room. It was not physical. It pressed against thought itself. Adrian, something is wrong. The king heard him. Before Adrian could withdraw his hand, Vale stepped forward. Continue, your majesty. The kingdom is waiting. Noah noticed several counselors exchanging nervous looks. Then the pressure intensified. People throughout the hall became unnaturally still. Adrian's expression changed as he fought against something Noah could not see. The Crown Stone is pulling my alpha command outward, he said. Vale's smile finally became real, as it was always meant to. Gasps moved through the chamber. Vale calmly explained that kingdoms failed because people were allowed too many choices. One command, one will, one perfect order would end division forever. Noah understood then why the voiceless had been feared. Sovereign resonance was not another form of control. It was the opposite. The silver markings across his neck and hands ignited with light. His weakness surged so sharply that he nearly fell, but Adrian reached toward him and stopped before touching him. "Even now?" he asked. "Noah?" Noah nodded. Adrian steadied him. Vale ordered the crown stone to complete the amplification. A crushing command spread through the hall. "Submit." Heads lowered. Shoulders stiffened. Noah felt the force reach him and pass through without finding anything to hold. He was still free. Then he remembered the final message left by the original Noah. The crown stone amplified the voice the kingdom chose to hear. Noah placed his palm against the ancient stone. Vale laughed. "You cannot even speak." Noah looked at him and realized how completely the man had misunderstood power. Noah closed his eyes. He did not command anyone to resist. He did not tell them whom to follow. He said only 3 words through sovereign resonance. "Choose for yourselves." The thought moved beyond Adrian for the first time. It reached the counselors, the servants, the guards, the citizens, every bonded wolf within the hall, then expanded outward through Blackwood City like a quiet sunrise. One by one, people lifted their heads. Vale's borrowed authority collapsed because freedom required no permission. Adrian removed his hand from the crown stone and turned toward Noah. Before thousands of witnesses, the most powerful alpha in the kingdom lowered himself to one knee. Noah stared at him. "Adrian, what are you doing?" The king looked up without shame. "Choosing." The hall became silent. Adrian's voice carried through it. "A king who fears another man's voice was never powerful to begin with." Then the crown stone answered Noah. Silver light rose through the ancient pillar, brighter than before, and Noah suddenly heard something impossible. Not words from Adrian. Not memories from the body he inhabited. Thousands of distant minds were answering his resonance with one shared choice, and for the first time in centuries, the kingdom was choosing to listen. For several seconds after the crown stone answered him, Noah could feel the entire kingdom like distant lights beyond a dark horizon. Thousands of minds had not become his to control. That was the miracle. They remained separate, private, free. Sovereign resonance had simply broken the pressure, forcing them toward obedience. Then the silver light faded, and Noah's strength disappeared with it. Adrian caught him before he reached the floor. "Stay with me." Noah managed a tired smile. That sounded suspiciously like a command. Adrian's expression softened. "Then consider it a request." By sunrise, Lord Vale and the counselors involved in the conspiracy had been removed from authority and placed under peaceful royal custody while an independent tribunal reviewed the evidence. Dr. Samuel Hart discovered something equally important. Without the suppressive medicine Noah had unknowingly received for years, his condition began stabilizing. The awakening itself still exhausted him, but he was no longer dying. Weeks became months. Noah recovered slowly, gaining strength each day, yet his ordinary voice never returned. Strangely, he stopped wishing it would. He learned formal sign language from a palace teacher, and Adrian learned beside him. The king was terrible at first. Noah laughed silently every time Adrian confused the sign for council with the sign for cabbage. Adrian insisted the gestures were unnecessarily similar. Noah insisted the kingdom would survive having a monarch who occasionally summoned vegetables to political meetings. Their friendship deepened into something neither needed to rush or define for anyone else. Adrian never treated Noah's silence as something requiring repair. Noah never treated Adrian's coldness as something love alone could magically erase. They changed because they challenged each other. Noah taught Adrian that listening was an action, not simply the absence of speaking. Adrian taught Noah that accepting support did not diminish independence. Together, they changed Blackwood in practical ways. Sign language became part of education in royal schools. Disabled citizens were appointed to advisory positions that had once excluded them. Omega representatives received permanent seats on the Royal Council. Most importantly, the Crown Stone was never again permitted to amplify Alpha command. 1 year after the failed coronation, Noah stood beside Adrian on the palace balcony overlooking a plaza filled with thousands of citizens. He was no longer dressed as an invisible servant. Silver embroidery traced the collar of his formal coat, echoing the markings of the Voiceless Bloodline. Adrian stepped forward, but he did not speak for Noah. Instead, the Alpha King raised his hands. The entire Royal Council followed. Then the crowd became quiet. Noah began to sign. He told them that silence was not emptiness, difference was not weakness, and authority without choice was merely fear wearing expensive clothes. Adrian translated aloud only because Noah had asked him to. When the speech ended, the plaza erupted with applause. Noah looked across the city that had once considered him disposable and felt something he had never expected when he first opened his eyes in that tiny servant room. He belonged here. Adrian turned toward him and signed carefully. "You changed this kingdom." Noah shook his head and answered, "We changed it." Adrian smiled. Then Noah heard something inside his mind. A voice. Not Adrian's. Not the fading memories of the original Noah. It was clear, distant, and unmistakably alive. "Noah Whitmore, if you can hear me, then the last voiceless heir has finally awakened." Noah went completely still. Adrian noticed immediately. "What is it?" Noah looked toward the northern mountains beyond the city. For months, everyone had believed his awakening marked the return of an extinct bloodline. Now Noah understood the truth was far larger. He focused on Adrian and set one thought through their extraordinary connection. "I do not think I am the last one." Far beyond Blackwood, somewhere past the mountains, another silver voice answered. "You never were."